said, everything gets really, like, I always get in trouble in this show, and I try and be as nice as I can. I try and avoid his crazy questions.
But you've always been open.
Let me tell you last time.
Yeah.
Howard said very clearly, does Melania have cellulite? Now, Melania is one of the greatest bodies I've ever seen.
I've seen it up close.
It's one of the greats.
Yeah.
Does she have and I said, Melania doesn't even know what the word cellulite means. Now, I said that very clearly. I thought that was wonderful.
Just a throwaway.
One of the newspapers in New York did a whole big story on the fact that Melania doesn't know what cellulite is.
Like she's stupid or
like
something.
she's a dummy, okay?
No.
And this is not a dummy. So I get killed. So almost no matter what you say on the show, when they analyze everything I've said today, I'm sure there are 4 or 5 things where I'm
Here, let me word it a different way. Is oral sex important to you?
That was a high-pitched
Seriously, it's man to man. And I've had this discussion with many men.
No, it's not important to me.
It's not.
You had Kylie Bax on this show.
That's a piece of ass I could not
Yeah,
get.
that's right. And she was a friend of mine.
Did you do her? Be honest.
I don't want to tell you. It was the single. Look, it was the single worst performance I've ever seen.
You like to have anal sex?
Yeah.
No kidding.
No, I'm serious.
You like that?
Yeah.
I gotta go kill myself.
You like that?
Yeah.
Wow, good answer. Yeah.
You're
Did you just ask that one more time?
Yeah. You like to have anal sex?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you destroyed her in the show when she said she liked the anal and this and that.
You're not into anal.
Did you do that?
No, I'm not into anal.
Oh.
No, I didn't do that with them.
You got Kylie Bax, you son of a
No,
gun.
I didn't say that.
I want that.
But she was a friend of mine, and she was a nice girl, and all of a sudden I see her in the show talking about anal and this and Marcus.
She took a calculated risk. It was wrong.
It was on the other night,
That's
in
right.
fact. You played it. They played it
Yeah, and you don't
on
see
E!
her anymore, do you?
It ruined her.
No, it was like, I can't believe this.
She took one for the team. So
She gave you some really bad answers.
yes.
So they pay 6 people $2 million apiece for a half-hour show. I'm one person, and I have an hour show, and I have higher ratings than they do.
And you don't even have to have writers.
Well, what I told them, I said, so I should be paid $24 million an episode.
Talk to me about what's going on now with The Apprentice. You now have 3 guys. You were the original, but you have 2 other guys, I should say, who are attempting to steal your thunder. One of them came in here the other day, Mark Cuban, billionaire.
Right.
He's got a show on now that's very similar to The Apprentice.
Benefactor.
With no ratings.
With no ratings.
Right. Doing very badly.
And then you got this other guy coming out, the other billionaire.
Who's that?
Richard Branson.
Richard Branson.
He's actually a good guy. I think that show has a better shot. Here's what
Virgin
happened.
guy.
We have a show. Did you see the ratings this week?
Yes.
Yes.
What was it rated?
You were
Howard?
number 1.
We were the number 1 show.
Right.
And in fact, the New York Times did a front page story this Sunday that The Apprentice was not only number 1, it was number 1 since May. In other words, it's the number 1 show since May, the last Thursday.
Gary Bababooey, who's a big fan of your show, says that the 90-minute format too long. He loves it, but he'd rather see an hour. What do you think of that?
What they did is they opened to 90 minutes only for one reason, because it gets good ratings.
Right.
And it did phenomenally. And frankly, they would like to have it on for 2 hours. You know, on Saturday night, they put a 2-hour version on, and Saturday night is the biggest Saturday night that NBC has had in over a year.
So with
Don't
that
let
kind
them
of
do
clout,
a rerun.
with that kind of
But are
clout,
you going
with that
to-
kind of
what?
clout, you pressured NBC into paying you more money, did you not?
I did.
All right. So now you're getting what? $1 million an episode?
Much more than that. But let me tell you.
More than $1 million? Is that true?
Yes. Listen, Howard, here's the thing.
How is
let
that,
me
Donald?
tell you. Let me tell you.
Now,
why.
did you see?
Robin,
but
let me
did you
tell
see?
you why.
But wait a
Robin,
second.
let me tell you the economics, and then you'll understand.
You're saying you're getting Schwimmer money?
I'm getting good money. But you know what? NBC, Jeff Zucker is so smart and so tough and so good that it's very hard to get money from him.
No. I'm saying $1 million to pay you $1 million.
That's
Not a lot of
much.
money if considering what they get in advertising.
They're going to make $1 billion
and
off
they
the Apprentice.
But he didn't get $1 million. Go on and
Okay,
tell us.
let me explain. Let me explain what happened. I signed the first one. Everyone thought it would be off and, would do fine. It would maybe get a couple. And, then Trump goes back to building buildings in Manhattan and having a lot of fun.
And having a good life, yes.
And, it's good. It's fine. And they paid me peanuts.
Okay.
But the show went to number 1.
Right.
And now they said, please, we beg you, let's do more. This is very, very good. So this was a little bit of a surprise. It opened strong. It opened at number 10. It went to 8 and 5 and 4.
Became very
2,
popular.
And 1. And the last show, the live show, was 41.5 million people watched. The Super Bowl beat it, okay? That was it.
Right.
So it was this monster show. So, people drop to their knees and they say, please, let's do more. So
you
we
said,
made
I
a
want
new
more
deal.
money.
Now, here's what happened. I said, I'll do more. I read an article where the Friends people get $2 million an episode. Right, Rob?
Right.
So I said to Jeff Zucker and everybody at NBC, I'll do it, but I want Friends-type money.
Right. I think
And
that's reasonable.
Right. And they said, well, maybe we can work something like that out. And they said they get $2 million an episode. I said, no. There's 6 of them
Right.
that get $2 million an episode.
There's one of you.
And there's one of me.
You want $12 million an episode.
Well, and then I said, so
Nice.
there's 6 of them, so that's 12, right?
Right.
I'm,
So you're gonna give him a bargain.
I'm thinking like Howard thinks, because I hear he has one of the great contracts in history. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm rolling.
Then I said, they said, well, that's ridiculous. How dare you suggest that? Then I said, well, wait a minute. Let's go a little further. My ratings are higher than Friends now by a lot. And the other thing is it's an hour program. And Friends, as you know, is a half hour.
That's right.
And you know who told me that one? I have a golf pro who's mentally retarded. I mean, he's like really not a smart guy.
Right.
And I'm playing golf, and I'm thinking about what am I going to tell NBC. And this golf pro comes up to me, and he tells me, yeah, but your show's an hour, and Friends is a half hour. He's obviously a Friends watcher.
And there are 6 people
And I
they
said,
pay.
yeah.
Right.
So they pay 6 people $2 million apiece for a half-hour show. I'm one person, and I have an hour show, and I have higher ratings than they do.
And you don't even have to have writers.
So I said,
I'm saying I bet the
So I
production
said-
costs of your show are less.
lower.
well, what I told him, I said, so I should be paid $24 million an episode. I didn't get it.
You didn't get $24 million. You can see Donald Trump on The Apprentice tonight at 9 o'clock on NBC. Very controversial show. You fired a guy last week after the guy said, I give up my immunity because I know I did a good job.
And you said, that's stupid.
And you say, hey, you're an idiot.
Well, he
You're
made a
gone.
mistake. I mean, he walked into
It
the
was
boardroom.
dumb.
He had total immunity. He said, I give up, as a show of bravado, I give up my immunity. I give it up, Mr. Trump. My team is wonderful. I said to myself, he's gone.
Yep. Good call. All right, Donald Trump, thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
in here.
Thank you,
It's
Howard.
always great seeing you, and I assume I'll be invited to your wedding.
The next wedding.
Well, you
The
have
next
to.
wedding.
I mean, we have to invite him.
You have to.
He didn't
You're
work
going to
too
go through that again?
No, I'm just going to
He's a
have
good
deal.
luck charm.
No,
I would go.
Yeah, he's a great luck charm. I'm sure Melania is going to be thrilled.
Mr. Trump, how did the interview go?
Very nice. I had a good time. He's a great guy.
How do you feel when you have to talk about things like your relationships and past marriages?
I think it's fine. I mean, it's good. It's Howard, and he's a great guy. Goodbye.
Thank you.